Hi guys, it's Ben here from the Pride of Villa and welcome back to our Premier League predictions. It's game week 15 and this week we're going to be looking into these fixtures that will be happening on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas Day. So hopefully you did have a good day, or do have a good day depending on when this video comes out. But let's get into these fixtures. We're going to predict them, look into the results, look into their previous results as well, analyse which team could be the outcome winner here and try and see if we can predict some scores right. So if you are interested in this video, please leave a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, follow us on our social pages and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on new content. But without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we kick off the Boxing Day game week with Leicester City versus Manchester United. Now, Leicester City got a really good away win against Spurs, 2-0 away, I believe, in the past few days, which is a really good performance from Spurs. Leicester, obviously, getting that 2-0 win against a team that was, you know, at one point at the top of the league and looking like real title contenders. But it's, as I said, I think since losing to Liverpool, perhaps the momentum is finally starting to get to them and it's starting to get to reality. Whereas Manchester United got a really good win against Leeds United, winning 6-2, continuing that rivalry, as we said. And overall, although not probably getting the draw as I predicted, really standing about and just showing a bit more quality than Leeds United. I think this is going to be a really close game. Again, I think both teams will be wanting the win here, trying to move up to the league, trying to secure that top 4 place before the new year. And I think simply it's just going to be another close one. I think it's going to be a draw here. I think we're going to see Leicester City 1, Man United 1. I think they're just going to be two evenly contested teams. And I think Jamie Vardy and Rashford are going to get some goals here and try and keep the momentum alive for both teams going into the new year. Next up, we have Fulham versus Southampton. Now, Fulham drew away to Newcastle. You know, they started off really well, looking like they were going to get another 3 points here, similar to the Liverpool situation. But VAR really just went against them, gave Newcastle the advantage back into the game. But performance-wise, Fulham looked much better. It's really since Adam Lookman's been coming into the team, since joining, I believe it was Leipzig. He looks so much better in that team, makes Fulham look like a much more attacking, more threatening team than the one we saw at the start of this season. Versus the Southampton team that just lost out to Manchester City, but should have been much more, because quite frankly Southampton were, although perhaps not as possessive with the ball as Manchester City were definitely creating more chances and should have been capitalised on them. And I think really Southampton are going to capitalise on Fulham's poor start to the season and really try and establish themselves back into the top 4 by getting a really comfortable win here over Fulham. I'm going to go Southampton 2, Fulham 0. I think Danny Ings and probably Chams will get the goals and continue to build some momentum and really hopefully get Southampton back into the top 4. Just look at Man City as just a little bit of a blimp in the results and just getting back on the winning page. Next up, we have, of course, Aston Villa versus Crystal Palace. Now, Aston Villa managing to get a pretty dominant victory over West Bromwich Albion, although we said Sam Allardyce was looking for a bounce back. Ultimately, he didn't get it. And overall, apart from 1 or 2 chances, Villa really just dominated the 90 minutes and overall cruised to a 3-0 victory. Whereas Crystal Palace, on the other hand, would get a massive battering by Liverpool 7-0. And showing that, you know, Liverpool's quality is there and that's why they are probably going to be the title winners for this year. But we're looking at Villa and Palace, and I think, as I said previously to this, I think Villa, in terms of these results with West Brom, with Crystal Palace, before we move on to like the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea, we need to be capitalising on these points. And with that good win against West Brom, us being in 9th now, this could potentially, again, 2 games ahead, push us back into the top 6 hopefully, and I think we're definitely going to get a win here against Crystal Palace. I don't think it's going to be an easy game. I think the likes of Everton, if he does come back into the team, Zaha obviously going to want to get a goal, Christian Benteke. But hopefully with the likes of Ross Barkley and Nathan Conte hopefully going to be coming back to the team, although I thought Cornelius did a really good job, and I thought who played in Villa's midfield? I thought Traoré and El Ghazi were worthy of keeping their position. Doesn't obviously Doug Sui's coming back in. I think it's going to be really hard, but probably Ross Barkley will get a start, and I'd like to think House will get a bit more of time on the starting team rather than just putting his Conte straight back in. But in terms of result, I'm going Aston Villa 2 here, Crystal Palace 1. I think Villa will continue to find some form. I think they will just batter Crystal Palace. I think really, again, similar to what I said, although Crystal Palace have some good players in Zaha and Eze, I think overall as a team, Crystal Palace are not there on 11 men, whereas Aston Villa were a bit more rounded, a bit more solid together. We're finally working out our rhythm with these new players, and I think get this good result on the way, we're going to perhaps not only look at a really nice positioning finish going into the new year, but I think we'll be able to look at some new and exciting targets for Aston Villa in the January window. Keep your eyes on that. We will have a video coming for that. But yeah, Aston Villa will get the win here against Crystal Palace. Next up, Arsenal versus Chelsea, the London derby, as they say. Arsenal, man, what the hell is going on with them? Losing 2-1 to Everton last time round, and then as of last night, losing 4-1 in a really pathetic display against Manchester City in the Carabao Cup. Whereas Chelsea, although probably not the most convincing performance, beat West Ham 3-0 with the likes of Tammy Abraham and Tammy Abraham, you know what I mean. I think Chelsea are going to steamroll Arsenal here. I really don't understand. I've already said this, I don't understand what's going wrong with Arsenal. It's the same team that won the FA Cup and the Community Shield and looked really good towards the end of last season. Although a bit frailties, you would have think their signings would have helped. But nothing's really changing. I don't understand where it goes. You know, you can look at players not being good enough. Yeah, these are the same players that performed really well last season, the likes of Aubameyang, the likes of Saka. They're just not performing right now. You can look at the manager, you know, for his team selection. Players like Hector Bellerin, Mustafi being played into a team that is just not good enough. And then you can also look at the board for not giving them the financial backing to buy these players. Yet we've seen the likes of Thomas Partey and Willian being brought over the line, which suggests they do have money. So it's really a hard mix of everything going wrong at the club right now, and I think it's just going to keep continuing on. And simply put, I just don't think Mikel Arteta is really the way forward. I just said this when he came into management. I don't really think he is what Arsenal needed. They need a Max Allegri right now to sort out that defence and really give some structure to the team, but also bring something of a big name to Arsenal. But also, it's got to look at the board as well. If they're not going to financially back or give any confirmation on what is going on behind the scenes with Arsenal, then you've got to be looking at them as well. But in terms of the performance on the pitch, I think it's going to be a Chelsea 2-0 win against Arsenal. I can't see him scoring, and I can't really see Arsenal getting back into this game at all. Next up, we have Man City versus Newcastle. Obviously, Man City in that 1-0 win against Southampton away, only just managing to survive that, but did scrape that. And obviously, again, as we said, the 4-1 win against Arsenal in the Carabao Cup, giving them some form and showing that going to put a lot of strong on Pep Guardiola's name to who he chooses for that first 11 against Newcastle. Whereas Newcastle drew against Fulham and quite frankly only snatched a point. They got away with it. But from what I'm seeing of Newcastle, not a lot of fans are happy with the way they're playing with Steve Bruce, and perhaps are looking for a new manager. And I think Man City are just going to squash them here. I really don't see how Newcastle are going to come out of Manchester with anything more than a point. I just don't think they have player quality like Manchester City. I'm going Manchester City 2, Newcastle nil. I think Sergio Aguero is finally going to get a goal, try and get some momentum back and get back to that first team, whilst also the likes of Phil Foden shine with their quality and get a goal. So yeah, I can't see anything but a Manchester win here being in blue. Next up, Sheffield United versus Everton. I think this is going to be quite a boring game considering Sheffield United are the worst team in the Premier League right now, only just drawing to Brighton. Even though they put on a really good display, they just unfortunately got a bit unlucky in the end. Whereas Everton beat Arsenal and managed to, I believe, it's second or third place within the league right now. So they're having a really good season. And I think, again, similar to what we've said, I don't think this is going to be time for Sheffield United to get some 3 points. I think Everton are going to steamroll them here. I'm going Everton 3, Sheffield United 0. No goal quality coming from Sheffield United. No one's scoring the goals. Their midfield's weak, defensively they're poor. And overall, I'd like him to keep Chris Wilder and if they are to go down to the Championship, because I think he's a really good manager. And overall, I think you'd be really stupid to let him go, even though, quite frankly, you just not got the right players in this time round. But in terms of Everton, obviously, they've got the player quality. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is going to keep the goal scoring for him on and propel Everton onto that title charge potentially against Liverpool this season. Next up, I think another boring game here, Leeds versus Burnley. Obviously, Leeds getting battered 6-2 against Manchester United, and although looking clearly the lesser of quality against Manchester United, performance-wise, I actually didn't think it was that bad from Leeds, and they're actually showing that they can still keep going. The goals don't affect them, and if they keep their mindset, they can still go on to win games. Whereas Burnley managing to get a really decent result against Wolves, who've just not been performing as of late, and really securing them 3 points and moving them out to the relegation zone. That'll give them a bit of confidence and can perhaps start to think that we can do this. We do have enough quality here, and go into Leeds thinking we're going to get the 3 points here. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think Burnley will get a 1-0 win here. I think they'll snatch you through the likes of Harvey Barnes, because I just don't think Leeds right now have won the quality. They're going to have to look at January, even though they've signed a lot of players. I think they need to be examining that team and saying who's not working, who's not performing. And I think in that midfield, they just need a bit more creativity. Because watching Calvin Phillips the other night, it looks off the mark right now. So I think they need to bring in another midfielder, look at a bit more creativity, look at someone who's going to drive that midfield forward. But I think overall, Burnley are going to shit out a win here to get 1-0 against Leeds. Next up, West Ham versus Brighton. West Ham losing 3-0 to Chelsea, although looking like a really good team and having 2 goals disallowed by VAR. Really, it's just probably a good blimp for them, whereas a Brighton team who, although getting the draw against Sheffield United, I don't personally believe are going to be surviving this year, the Premier League. I just don't think the quality is good enough. And quite frankly, I think they've overstayed the welcome. They're just a team I don't like really overall. A lot of their players are just knobheads. And I just think they deserve to really go down. They're just not Premier League to me anymore. I think they've been overstaying their welcome for far too long. So I'm going to go West Ham 2, but Brighton 0. I don't see Brighton getting a goal here, and I think the likes of Declan Rice. And I don't think BROM will get a bit more of a chance, considering, so much hype around this player you bring him in. He's been on the bench pretty much his whole time in West Ham so far. But I'd like to see him come on, and I think this would be a perfect opportunity to capitalise and get 3 points against Brighton. Next up, Liverpool versus West Brom. Very simple here. I'm going Liverpool 2-0. I can't see West Brom winning here. We don't really need to discuss it anymore. West Brom don't look like they're really good enough. You can look and say, well, some Allardyce is going to get Jenny to work in and buy his players, but really I don't know who they're going to buy if they're not being given enough financially. Whereas Liverpool, too much quality. They're obviously going to smash West Brom, but I'm going to go, I think it's just said 2-0. I'm going to go 4-0. I think, obviously, quality, as I said. The front three, Sadio Mane, Firmino, Salah, I think they're just going to outdo West Brom there. And finally, we're looking into the final game week for Boxing Day. It's Wolverhampton Wanderers against Tottenham Hotspurs. And this is a really interesting one. Wolves obviously having such a poor run of form right now. They're not looking like the same selves they have been for the past 2 seasons, losing 2-1 against Burnley. Whereas Tottenham, for this team that started off so for me, were the best title contenders for this year against Liverpool, losing 2-0 to Spurs and now dropped down to as low as 5th or 6th, I believe. This is going to be a really interesting game. It will be interesting to see who's going to want it more out of Wolves and Tottenham. And I think Wolves will want this more, but I don't see either team winning here. I'm going to go 1-1. I think Fabio Silva's going to get another goal to try and increase his confidence, and I think obviously Son's going to probably get a goal here. But overall, for me, Spurs need to stop playing defensively. They have too much pace and too much creativity to be sitting back and defending wins. And quite frankly, it's not working. Just play attacking. The best form of defence is attack, and just go for it and just try and keep getting goals in the break. Because ultimately, it worked against Arsenal, it worked against Manchester United, and it got them first place at one point. So I don't see what's falling there. But for Wolves, I think they need to be looking at January really. I would say right off this season, but ultimately game mid-table, and I think they will do fine. But overall, I think it's going to be a draw here in Wolverhampton versus Tottenham. Alright guys, that's going to wrap it up for this predictions video. Leave in the comments down below what you think of my predictions or what you believe is going to be the real outcome of these game weeks. As we said, this is going out on Boxing Day or hopefully just before Christmas. So if you do get to watch this before Christmas or after Christmas, hopefully you had a Merry Christmas and have a good day at all. And let's hope obviously 2021, not only just for football but for the world in general, gets better as we go on. Please leave a like, subscribe, follow us on more social pages, and please give us a bit more of a share, spread our notoriety about, because you love it. But without further ado, I've been Ben, up the Villa with a pride of Villa. We'll see you later, boys.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.